It was a true time of exploration, of discovery. E.W. Marland came to Oklahoma looking for oil, and man, did he find it. The oil business he began ended up years later becoming Conoco. Marland did everything in a big way, and that included building this mansion, his first one, on Grand Avenue in 1916. Now known as the Marland Grand Home, it's so big, well, it functions on 3 different levels.
We are a special event center, so we can be rented out the first floor primarily for weddings and receptions and reunions and those kinds of things. We also have museum space. We have a wonderful 101 Ranch museum exhibit in our basement area, which is quite extensive. And then we have Indian exhibits upstairs of the American Plains, Indian tribes, mostly our local tribes.
And thirdly, this is an historic site. It's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. It's also fascinating to visit the house just to see how far ahead of their time the Marlands were. For 1916, this was considered a mansion.
They had a dishwasher and a central vacuum system when nobody else did, and there are remnants of that central vacuum system left. But probably the most fascinating thing is the underground indoor swimming pool, which we think was probably the first one in northern Oklahoma. And it's downstairs in what we like to call the man cave. There are 3 large rooms plus this indoor swimming pool where Mr. Marland would entertain his friends.
There are still some original pieces left in the home, including this rather large portrait hanging on the library wall. You can take self-guided tours of the Grand Home, or if you have a group, a special guided tour can easily be arranged. I mentioned the Marlands were ahead of their time, yet they were very philanthropic, and the community greatly benefited from E.W. Marland. He built parks and gave away land for hospitals and schools. He also started an orphanage for children from military families.
He's quoted as saying that he wanted to build his community and its people up at the same time he was building himself up. And he had no interest in it all being about him at all. He wanted people to earn not only a living wage but a saving wage. And he instigated the first company benefits. He had medical plans and dental plans when virtually no other companies in the nation were doing that kind of thing. He felt a real responsibility to share the money he was making, and he was proud of the fact that he didn't use anyone or their money to make his money. His money came from the earth. It came out of the ground, and he didn't take money away from anyone else to make his fortune, and he was happy about that.
There's so much to see and learn from the impressive 101 Ranch and Native American exhibits, and now the administrators are better tying everything together here in the home, so this can be an incredible educational tool.
Great things were happening during the 20s. That's when the Marlands lived here in this home, and we're trying to help tell that story better so people can put the pieces together and make those connections. Another thing I didn't mention is before, of course, the home was owned by Marland. People knew that. They didn't so much understand the era of the 20s. They knew there was an Indian exhibit here and a 101 Ranch exhibit. But how do all those things relate to each other? And we're pulling it all together.